are back again for another fun-filled episode on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Hooray! Well, I was looking to see if I got anything in my pockets, and aside from my telephone, which is right now telling me my alarm is going off to wake me up because I'm doing this pre-get-up time so that we can do it with no people around. I have to give up my sleep for this. But I was looking in my pockets to see if I have any change because, as the old song would go, I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm heading to the arcade. I don't have any quarters. What do I got here? Must have something. I got a 5, I got a 20, I got a $1. Now that can get you a lot of quarters. I'll have you know, I'm the last arcade on the boardwalk that doesn't have a card swipe system. It's only coins here. And there's some people who come in and they don't know to get coins to put in the machines. Like, you actually put coins in the machine. Yes, you put coins in the machines, just like you did everywhere in the world from the time of vending or anything. Pay telephones, put coins in. Candy machines, cigarette machines. Anything you did was a coin-operated business. Not anymore. Well, when you had coin arcades, you had boys working, wearing coin belts, making change. Then they got the idea to have change machines. And when they had a change machine, suddenly they eliminated the need for as many guys on the floor making change. And the guys on the floor had to actually know how to count. Well, today that would be more difficult even than it was back then, because they have to make proper change. Then you get the bright idea of the handy-dandy change machine. Now, these change machines are made by Rowe. And if I'm not mistaken, Rowe was the pioneer in making change machines. Now, this is not one of their original models. The original ones, you had to load the change into tubes, into stacked tubes, and the machine would knock off the coins according to the size, dimension, and height. Well, that's okay, but you know what? The guy's got to load all those coins in the tube. It was difficult. Then they came up with the idea of a hopper that would retrieve the coins after you poured them in and pull them up and count them as they go. And that became the standard. Now, I prefer the Rowe change machine. There is a machine made by another big company called American Standard, and they've kind of taken over the monopoly towards the end of the life of the craze of change machines. But change machines have been disappearing. Why? Because when you have a card swipe system, you don't need change machines because nobody's using change. So change machines have become a commodity that no longer is being purchased for arcade use. Even laundromats that had change machines, a lot of them have gone to some kind of a card swipe system where you get a card or punch it in and then you go over to the machine and tap. Oh my God, everything's so complicated and wireless and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all this stuff. But give me an old-fashioned change machine and I'm happy. Now, change machines take your money and they give you change. I'm surprised I have to actually show somebody this because everybody should know you put your money in and out comes your change. 4 quarters for $1. You'll notice that as soon as I dropped my $1 in that machine and it verified it, it instantly dropped out 4 quarters. Instantly. They don't all do that. I got another crinkled $1. My dollars aren't in the best condition because they were in my pocket. Now we're going to go over this one here because I want to show you a difference. This change machine will not drop 4 quarters all in one shot. It dropped 4 quarters, drop, 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 as it was counting them. Well, these machines look the same, but they're not. The Rowe system has a reservoir where it preloads the coins into chambers. Then when the activation comes in from the bill validator, the computer will decide what kind of bill it was, and according to its program, it knows which chamber to drop. There's not a million chambers. I think there's 3. So Usually it's $1, $5. It might have another chamber for an odd amount, for like a $2 bill or something like that, but it's usually 1s and 5s. It will have the coins pre-counted in the chamber, and when it's activated, it'll pull a solenoid, dropping the doors, down come the coins, you got it instantly in one shot. Now, when is that the most effective? Do I have any bigger bills here? Come on. I got a 5. Okay. If I put in a $5 bill, all in one shot, I got $5. I'm not standing here waiting for the machine to count up 20 quarters. If you hear it with all the noise, it's counting right now. It's loading the chamber. While it's doing this, it will not allow me to put any more bills in that machine. Clever, because that way the machine is making sure that if it takes your money, because it has no way to refund your bill, once it takes it, it can't give it back. If it takes your money, it knows it already has the change for you, drops the coins. So what if the machine is out of coins? And I put in money and I get screwed. Well, the Rowe machine, theoretically, can't do that because it's preloaded the chamber. If it defaults because it couldn't finish loading the chamber, it will go into out of service, the light will come on, and it will not allow you to put any coins in the machine because it cannot provide the change for you. This one, however, will not do that. This one, since it counts them out as you get it, if the machine is out of coins or a hopper gets jammed and can't feed the coins, you're not gonna get your coins. Well, that's not good. So you have to make sure that that's kept up with coins. Now, here you have your Rowe high capacity coin hoppers. The 3 hoppers together will hold maximum filled over $2,000 worth of quarters. That is a lot of quarters. So you pull the hopper out and you see that the quarters are just dumped in there. They're just thrown in that hopper. Look at that. Isn't that messy? Well, this machine is probably not full. So I'm guessing that the 3rd hopper, well, that looks like it's the 3rd hopper. No, it's not the 3rd hopper. How do you know that's not the 3rd hopper? Do you count from right to left? Is this England? You go backwards? Because the row changers do not all count in order, 1, 2, 3. It depends on the model, but most of them, this is hopper number 1, this is hopper number 2, this is hopper number 3. So look at that. Hopper number 3 is empty because I know we're not going to get to that. So you see inside the hopper, and you see this area here. That is what's going to bring up the coins. Now if I pull this hopper out, yes, they come out. There's a motor back here which will turn when that hopper is being engaged. And at the back of the hopper, you have a pin that catches and it turns. And when it turns inside, you see this chain. See it going? Goes up. And it carries the coins up. I think I got a couple coins in there. Are they coming up? There, did you see that coin come up? And then it fell through the hole. And then when it comes out this hole, it goes into the chamber. Now, how does it get in the chamber? First, it goes here through an optic. The optic will have a light breaking beam. As the quarter passes through, it breaks the light and tells the computer that's a coin going through. Then it falls down and it goes into the chamber. It's weirdly configured because there are 3 of these and they go into a W that goes down into the center of the chamber. Now the chamber has different sliders, goes left, right, middle, that will direct the coins and where they're going. So it gets a little complicated from there. But if I put this hopper back in, which is going to be harder to do than getting it out. Come on, come on. There it is. They have to sit without the weight of the coins to pull that down into the chamber. A lot of times they're not going to go in nicely. So you have to be strong. Now here's a simulation. there's buttons here. Left bucket, center bucket, right bucket. That's going to open the different buckets and tell me what's in them. This bucket should be $1. It's not, it's $5. Now it's loading. Boy, it's taking its time. Okay. The bucket is loaded, it'll accept another $1. What's in the middle bucket? Nothing. We're not using the middle bucket. There's no program for it. Side bucket, $1. So what happens if somebody puts in a 10? Because this one only has spots for 1 and 5. Originally, change machines were designed only to take $1 bills if they had a bill acceptor. So all they took. They didn't take 5s, 10s, or 20s. And they were expensive machines. Then they came out with the model that would also take 1s and 5s. And that was like, wow, you got one to take 5s? So forever, it was 1s and 5s only. When I was in Seaside running Fascination, I bought the first change machine that was available that took 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. Wow. And the one I got was made by a company called Ardac. Are they still around anymore? I don't know. Ardac was another big company, but they weren't known for change machines. But they came out with this model that could take 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s, and it was programmable, so I could give different amounts for whatever denomination bills. And that's what I wanted, because I was dispensing tokens, and I wanted to give you extra tokens as you spent higher amounts of money. So it was perfect. But the system wasn't as good. They used what they called TNT optics that would go bad just from sitting. And each one you had to change was like $500 30 years ago. So they would go bad all the time. It was such a pain in the neck. And the conveyor that lifted up the coins used a belt with a cleat system. And if the coins got jammed up in it, it would break off the cleat from the belt. Your belt would be missing cleats. It would be slower, and you have to buy new belts. It was awful. It was awful. So they don't make that kind of change machine anymore. I have 6 of them. Lucky me. Cost me a fortune, too. But the Rowe, they came out with a machine that took 10s with the double dump, the 10, okay. But another company came out, and if you see it in here, see that white box there? That was a modification to change your machine so it would accept more than a $5 bill. Now that's not made by Rowe. That's made by a company called Capital Vending. Big vending company down Mid-South. They invented that, they mass-produced them. Most Rowe change machines out there will have something from Capital Vending in there. But it doesn't work with your regular bill validator. What do you mean, your regular bill validator? These are not the original bill validators. And yes, they made different model bill validators over the years, but this is the only one that is still using an original bill validator from the machine. And you see the picture? That means the bill has to go in that direction. These bill validators were notoriously picky, notoriously bad acceptance. The validators that were the good validators were made by Mars. Well, Rowe used their validators, not Mars validators, but then somebody came out with a kit that was probably Capital Vending or somebody somewhere, where you could put this in, which is a bracket to simulate the size of the other validator, and you could attach. That wasn't good. What sparked? And I don't know where the spark came from, and I hope I didn't ruin a $300 validator for doing this video. So back in you go. I don't see any blinking. This could be very bad news. Well, folks, you have seen Probably what's going to be upwards to a $500 video. Where did the spark come from? Let's see if we can ruin another one. The Rowe validator is much longer, as you see, because the bill doesn't go down, it goes across and then down. And that's where it does its validation. This is one of the more modern ones. The earlier ones had all kinds of electronics on the top and the bottom. Then here is where your bills go. Now this has a double stacker. This is a stacker down here for your larger bills, and this is a stacker for your fives. I'm sorry, for your ones, but there's a 5 in here, which shouldn't be. This is for your ones. And the way this works is it has a separator down here, and the dollar comes down, but it actually presses. See this here? This will stop the dollar here or stop the dollar down further, and then it'll push it into the proper box so it knows where it's going to keep the bills separate. So you have your ones and you have your bigger bills. Now, this was very problematic, as you can see. It can sometimes the bill doesn't drop all the way down because it's just going by weight, and then it has to push in. But in this instance, it still has the original equipment. Now, sometimes these stackers are a problem, and I have one machine where I completely took the stacker out because it was just too much trouble, and the bills just fall down in the bottom. And I just have to gather them up and put them together. Quite messy, but if you switch to the Mars, then it goes in the little box and you're done. Well, what's down below? Here you have your power supply. In the back we had the coin counting and the buckets, but down on the bottom you have your computer. And this is the heart of the change machine, and this is doing all the calculations and it's programming the machine. Now this is what they call an MC, so you can adjust and have it give multiple coins from different hoppers. I can tell it I want to have 10 coins out of hopper 1 and 5 coins out of hopper 2 and 5 coins out of hopper 1. So you can do that, but I'm running it on a standard, so if it runs out of one hopper, it goes to the next. Here's another validator. It goes in, very simple. Again, this is a more modern one. The older ones were filled with electronics top and bottom. And of course we have all kinds of extra parts. These are boards for the validators. Now this one, which was the odd one. Before I got the machine, somebody switched it, and it's not using your Rowe computer. They must have had a bad problem, and they got a computer from Capital Vending. And the computer from the Capital Vending counts the coins as they're going out, not like the Rowe, which it has the dump and the preload and all things of this nature. So again, it's a different system. And we have more parts. We have all kinds of buttons and switches, and coin mechs there and coin mechs there, and all kinds of goodies that are hiding all around. There's a penny that'll probably keep me from closing the door. Oh, and that's the story of keeping the experience alive. So you put your money in to get your coins. You put your coins in the machines, you have fun. If you're playing Fascination, the tickets are coming out for you. You have the experience. Walking around with that handful of quarters, or as the song goes, the pocket full of quarters, and heading to the arcade, that's the old Pac-Man song, that's part of the fun. And you know what's good about coins? If you don't want to spend all your money, you got $10 worth of quarters and you only spend half of them, put the quarters in your pocket. You can go out the door, they're yours. You put it on a swipe card, the quarters are theirs. And you can only spend it there, and there's no refunds on swipe cards. And what happens when you lose the card? Think about that. They got your money. What are you gonna do, call the bank? Some places have, you know, on the record, and they can try to look up and cancel the card. Most places don't. You just got a card. They don't have your name and your address, and you got a card to go play the games. Guess what? You lost it, you lost it. You're out of luck. Just like losing money on the floor. But it's harder to lose a bunch of coins, you'd know it. So keep it real. Keep it real. Have the funds, use your coins, go to the change machine, hear that clinking sound, get your quarters, play your games, have the fun, have the experience, because it's another lost art. and you found it right here on the Main Street Randy Land YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Now I got to worry about fixing this change machine. Now it would appear that we're going to get lucky on this. Taking out the wiring harness, I found a little mark of burn right there at the harness. So somehow or another, I'm guessing that loose ground wire just happened to touch in there. And this wire basically took the load right there. Now it could have spiked into the machine, into the bill validator, which could have caused damage, but I'm gonna hope that it hasn't. And I don't have a pin extractor to get that out. So that's going to be a little short also, make it even worse. Let's see. It's right the first time. All right, so we got power there. And now we're gonna pull this apart. Wires themselves are very good circuit breakers because the thinness of the wire could not have taken very much of that power. So it blew the cable where it hit it. And this ground wire being loose instead of being onto the screw, okay, which the screw is obviously loose. This is not the best spot for this. Now the front bezel is plastic, so pressing up against that is doing nothing except the screw itself is going through to the metal. Sounds good. Success. Well, so we got off easy, but this is how stuff happens, and it happens quick. By doing something innocent, you can pull out and create a big problem. So, with that happy note, we're back in business, and we'll see you later.